The 70th annual Miss University pageant was held this weekend and the 2019 representative was crowned.
Coming up, we'll let you know who won and how she plans to implement her platform.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Matthew Hendley.
And I'm Grace McClanahan.
Ole Miss homecoming events ended with the crowning of a new Miss University last night.
NewsWatch reporter DeAndria Turner has more on the pageant festivities and who took home the title. DeAndria?
That's right, guys. Last night, 6 contestants competed for the title of Miss University, but only one was able to take home the crown.
Excited fans gathered at the Gertrude Ford Center of Performing Arts Sunday night to cheer on their pick for the 70th annual Miss University.
Really super proud and excited for her. She has a good chance, and I'm really just psyched that she decided to take on, the prospect of becoming Miss University.
But at the end of the night, senior finance major Blair Worth-Smith took home the crown.
It was really hard to believe. This has been something I've been working for since I stepped foot on this campus 3 years ago. So I am absolutely ecstatic to spend my senior year representing our university as Miss University.
Worth-Smith started competing in the Miss America organization when she was 15. And she wowed the judges as she and 5 other contestants competed in 5 different portions of the pageant: evening gown, on-stage question, interview, lifestyle and fitness, and talent. Worth-Smith is excited to start her year as Miss University doing community service.
I want to get into schools as fast as possible. I love working with elementary students and really getting this message started with them young, so I cannot wait to start booking appearances soon.
She won a $4,000 scholarship and will represent the University of Mississippi at Miss Mississippi 2019.
Wordsmith's platform is guiding youth to financial freedom, and she will travel across the state of Mississippi to educate people on this. Matthew, back to you.
Thanks, DeAndria. The Ole Miss football team had a record-breaking day this past Saturday, and Sports Watch reporter Maddie Bierster was there to break down the game.
Amazing night for Ole Miss as they defeated ULM 70-21. Great night for the offense as they racked up more than 820 offensive yards, setting that school record. Great second half for Matt Corral as well. He stepped up to the plate, going 10 for 10 with 2 touchdowns. The next game for Ole Miss will be in Fayetteville, Arkansas next Saturday at 6:30 p.m. Maddie Bierster, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
Head coach Matt Luke was pleased about the performance of his players on both sides of the football, and here's what he had to say about the huge win.
Really efficient in what we did. A lot of good decisions. You could tell with the, just not very many incompletions, making good decisions, getting the ball in the right spot. So I thought that was good. Defensively, I thought it was good to get some guys some reps and get the depth going. It was good to get Armani and Tylen over there, given the injury situation. So I thought that was good. And again, having some tackles for loss and getting some turnovers, thought that was really good.
Coming up in Sports Watch, hear what one receiver had to say about the record-setting day and what he expects to happen against Arkansas.
To cap off homecoming week, the university hosted their annual homecoming parade. NewsWatch reporter Thomas Goris is live in the newsroom to give us a recap of what happened. Thomas.
Thanks, Grace. The Ole Miss Homecoming Parade has been a staple of the university's homecoming week for the past 78 years. This past Friday, that tradition continued.
Colorful floats and fancy cars filled the streets of Oxford Friday afternoon as the 2018 Ole Miss Homecoming Parade took place. The parade has been a staple of Homecoming Week since it was first held in 1930. Co-director of Homecoming Elizabeth Gunn sees the longtime tradition as a chance to bring the Oxford community closer together.
The parade in particular and Homecoming Week are an opportunity for the LOU community as a whole to get together, for students and Oxford to have something that they share in common, a love of Ole Miss, a love of Oxford.
The parade kicked off with the newly elected Mr. and Miss Ole Miss, Chauncey Mullins and Jessica Tran, leading the procession down University Avenue. Floats and cars from almost every different Greek organization and Ole Miss personality followed behind them. Miss Mississippi and Ole Miss student Asia Branch was also a participant in this year's parade, riding with Miss Tennessee Christine Williamson. Last year, Branch's role in the parade was a little bit different.
I was actually on homecoming committee last year, so I know all the involvement that goes on with this and making friends in the process. So it's important to get involved on campus, but also attend these events so that you can get more experience and meet new people.
Branch feels the most important part of the homecoming parade is just to enjoy oneself.
Just have a good time, because that's what it's all about, is having fun.
The homecoming parade finished at the square. It was followed by a pep rally with the Ole Miss cheerleaders, Rebelettes, and the Pride of the South Band. Grace, back to you.
Thanks, Thomas. The university's Alumni Hall of Fame welcomed some familiar faces over the weekend. James Meredith and Thad Cochran were among the alumni honored at the ceremony Friday night. Meredith stepped onto the university's campus in 1962 as the first African-American student to integrate the then all-white campus. Cochran is a former student body vice president turned U.S. Senator. Joining Meredith and Cochran in the Hall of Fame are alumni Howard Gerlach, Shakita Morgan, Mac Hike, and Vernon Kelly III. A band director for a Jackson area high school has been suspended after a controversial halftime performance over the weekend. Members of the Forest High Hill Band have pointed fake guns at fake police officers. But since the performance came just days after 2 local police officers were killed, the act has left people angry. People say Friday night football at Brookhaven High School took a turn for the worse after a halftime performance by the Forest Hill High School Band left them speechless.
I was sad because of what happened last weekend, and it felt like they were making fun of it.
It just doesn't matter in this day and age. It's just totally bad taste.
Our people are hurting right now, and to bring that to us on a couple of days after we're burying 2 officers was just inappropriate.
Congresswoman Curie wasn't the only state leader to speak out about the performance. The governor took to Twitter. He tweeted, "This is unacceptable in a civilized society. Someone should be held accountable." Jackson Public Schools, which oversees Forest Hill High School, released a statement saying students were acting out a scene in the movie John Q. They went on to say, JPS has a great deal of respect and appreciation for our law enforcement partners. The band's performance does not depict the values in people in our community and was incredibly insensitive to the students' families, law enforcement officials, and the entire Brookhaven community. Jackson Mayor Chokwe Lumumba also issued a statement mentioning there is an active investigation into the performance. It reads in part, "It is the responsibility of adults to offer guidance to youth. Our students should have been instructed that this was neither the time or place for that performance." The school superintendent, Eric Green, said that the skit was inspired by the 2002 movie John Q. He did not explain what the movie has to do with football or the school community.
Over $850,000. That's the amount of money parking meters in downtown Oxford have brought in over the past 12 months. The amount is nearly $100,000 higher than the previous fiscal year. Taking into account expenses, the revenue still remained at over $700,000 in profit for the year. However, most of the profit from the downtown parking meters will eventually go toward repaying the $11 million bond the city issued to pay for the downtown parking garage, which is expected to be completed by August 2019. Well, finally, more parking spots in downtown Oxford.
Yeah, I know. I've contributed to that fund.
Coming up, we'll have the latest on President Trump's plans to keep Rod Rosenstein in Washington and what this will mean for the Russia probe.
And stay tuned to see the not-so-sparkling lawsuit one flavored water company has been hit with. But first, Jessica Everett has your first look at the current conditions.
Today was surely hot, but cooler weather may be on the way, thanks to some light winds and some scattered thunderstorms. Taking a look at our current radar, you can see that there's not very much activity currently, but tune in to Storm Watch and I'll let you know what the rain chances will be.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
So, I'm kinda new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
"20 people were killed in a limousine accident over the weekend in upstate New York in what authorities are calling the deadliest U.S. transportation accident in nearly a decade. The crash killed 2 pedestrians and 18 others who were inside the limo, which was carrying 4 sisters, relatives, and friends to a birthday party. According to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, the limo recently failed a safety inspection and the driver wasn't properly licensed. The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration is investigating the accident. Well, Judge Brett Kavanaugh has been confirmed to the Supreme Court, but the battle over his nomination is not finished. Democrats and Republicans are hoping to use the divisive decision to help them in November's midterm elections.
To the extent that I came to the aid of this good man and helped defeat this debacle, I am happy as a clam.
Republicans doing a victory lap after successfully elevating conservative Judge Brett Kavanaugh to the Supreme Court, despite allegations of sexual misconduct, which he denies.
I want to thank the other side for the tactics that have allowed us to kind of energize and get involved our own voters.
GOP leadership and President Trump attempting to capitalize on the divisive political battle to rally their base ahead of the midterm elections.
Republicans believe in the rule of law, not the rule of the mob.
But Democrats also hoping that Kavanaugh's confirmation will drive frustrated voters to the polls.
If you believe Dr. Ford and other brave women who came forward and you want to vindicate their sacrifice, vote.
Kavanaugh's confirmation, President Trump's second Supreme Court appointment, cements a conservative majority on the Supreme Court for decades. Ultimately, every Democrat except West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin voted against Kavanaugh. And every Republican except Alaska's Lisa Murkowski voted in favor.
On this vote, the ayes are 50, the nays are 48.
President Trump telling the Washington Post of Murkowski, "I think the people of Alaska will never forgive her for what she did." But the president applauding Maine Republican Susan Collins.
I will vote to confirm Judge Kavanaugh,
who voted yes after spending weeks on the fence. Now, Justice Kavanaugh is expected to hear his first arguments tomorrow. Kavanaugh is also the first justice in the history of the Supreme Court to have all female law clerks.
Is Rod Rosenstein actually on his way out of Washington? According to President Trump, the Deputy Attorney General's position is safe. Washington was rocked 2 weeks ago when speculation began that Rosenstein would be fired or quit his position as Deputy Attorney General. President Trump says that's just not true and that the two get along very well. Rosenstein's departure would have meant a change in leadership over the special counsel's Russian probe. President Trump and Rosenstein are still planning a meeting after original plans had to be postponed. A former aide to President Trump has just become a Fox News executive. Hope Hicks, the once close aide to President Trump, is set to join Fox News as Executive Vice President and Chief Communications Officer. Her new position will have her running public relations for the TV company. This move is a big change for Hicks. Her position at the White House involved assisting the president in setting up interviews. Before resigning in February, Hicks was one of the president's longest-serving aides. Hicks won't officially begin with Fox until early 2019.
The United Nations says governments around the world must make rapid changes to avoid disastrous levels of global warming. The report from the Panel on Climate Change of the United Nations says the planet will reach the crucial threshold of 1.5 degrees Celsius, which brings in the risk of extreme drought, wildfires, floods, and food shortages for hundreds of millions of people. Authorities say that lowering greenhouse gases by this amount is possible, but will require widespread energy changes in industry, buildings, transportation, and cities. 6 children in Minnesota were diagnosed with a rare polio-like disease in mid-September. The disease is known as AFM and attacks the spinal cord and could lead to paralysis. There is no vaccine for AFM, and treatment focuses only on alleviating symptoms. Symptoms include limb weakness, facial dropping, and trouble swallowing or talking. The disease typically affects children younger than 10. Minnesota's Department of Health says the state only sees less than 1 case per year. And the Center for Disease Control suggests staying up to date on vaccines and preventing mosquito bites in order to avoid catching the disease.
Best Buy wants to carve out a niche as a retail leader in digital health, especially for older Americans. The tech company announced in August it would buy GreatCall for $800 million. GreatCall makes Jitterbug cell phones designed with big buttons and bright screens for senior citizens. It also makes medical alert devices that can detect falls and summon help. The deal is expected to clear in the next few months. It would be the largest in Best Buy's 52-year history. Health and elder care are potentially massive markets for Best Buy. Around 50 million Americans are over the age of 65. One of the nation's most popular beverage companies has come under fire for claiming its products are all natural. According to a class action lawsuit, LaCroix sparkling water includes a number of artificial ingredients, including one found in cockroach insecticide. The suit also claims that the beverage makers were aware of the unnatural ingredients. LaCroix's parent company, National Beverage Corp., denies these allegations and stands by its claim that its sparkling waters are 100% natural.
Tropical storm Michael has now been upgraded to a Category 1 hurricane and is expected to strengthen. As the storm slashes through Cuba, it is expected to smack into the U.S. Gulf Coast on Wednesday. By then, Michael may turn into a Category 3 hurricane with winds from 111 to 129 miles per hour. Those on the Florida coast are rushing to prepare for what may be a life-threatening storm surge after Governor Rick Scott declared a state of emergency for 26 counties. Well, Oxford just can't let go of that summer heat, and the cooler temps haven't made their way here yet, as today it was warm and sunny again.
Yeah, I'm definitely hoping the fall weather finally shows up soon. Up next, Jessica Everett will let us know if we can start wearing jackets this week in her extended forecast.
Listen, you're my friend.
I noticed you haven't really been yourself recently.
Yeah, I feel like something's up.
How are you?
Are you okay?
Is there anything you want to talk about?
I just want to know how you're feeling.
And listen, even if you don't know what to say, I'm here to talk.
No matter what you're going through,
I just want you to know I'm here.
I've got your back.
when you want to talk, I'm here.
Leah, did you put a new dent in that?
This one? No.
Were you texting and driving again?
Yes.
Hi, Leah.
Hi, Dad.
Sorry about your bumper.
Disaster tips from the objects left behind.
My home wasn't insured, but you can check your insurance policy now to make sure you're covered. Oh.
My savings are lost, but you can put money aside and plan for unexpected disaster costs.
We're lost forever, but you can scan important documents now so they survive.
For more tips on how to prepare, visit ready.gov.
Well, it definitely was a hot and humid day, but we are cooling down to a current temperature of 86. Now taking a look at our current satellite image, you can tell that there's not very much activity currently going on in Mississippi. Now moving on to our current all-around temperatures, you can see that Corinth is at 85, Oxford at 86, South Haven and Holly Springs at 87, and Tupelo, the warmest, at 88. Taking a look at tomorrow's temperatures, you can see that we won't warm up very much. So South Haven's at 86, also Holly Springs at 86, Oxford at 85, and Corinth and Tupelo at 87. Taking a look at tonight's temperatures, we will drop down all the way to 69 with some beautiful clear skies with just a slight chance of rain. Now looking at tomorrow's temperatures, you can see that we'll warm up to 85, so not as warm as today, with some partly cloudy skies, but with a slighter chance of rain upping to 20%. Taking a look at our 5-day forecast, you will see that Wednesday you better make sure to pack your raincoats and your umbrellas because we have an 80% chance of thunderstorms. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday all looking a bit on the cooler side, so you might want to pack a light jacket with our temperatures dropping down all the way to the 40s and 50s. Back to you guys at the desk.
Well, the rain is coming back. Thank you, Jessica. After a heartbreaking loss to Missouri last week, see if the Ole Miss soccer team bounced back at home.
And find out how the Ole Miss men's basketball team performed in their first open practice this weekend. Up next on Sports Watch.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There was an old woman who lived in a shoe. She had so many children she didn't know what to do. She gave them some broth without any bread and kissed them all soundly and put them to bed. Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Annie Mapp. Ole Miss football brought the heat Saturday. The team defeated ULM 70-21. Wide receiver DeMarcus Lodge told us they are excited, but they don't want to get ahead of themselves.
I mean, just play our ball, be consistent, play physical. We know they're going to give us a game. They're a great football team. No win in the SEC is going to come easy. So I think if we come and play consistent and play hard and fast like we did today, we'll be in good shape.
The Rebels will try to improve to 5-2 on the year when they hit the road this week to take on Arkansas in Little Rock. And Ole Miss soccer dominated against Arkansas yesterday, winning 3-1. Arkansas had won 4 matches in a row, but Ole Miss changed that narrative in the 32nd minute with a goal from Lonnie Mulligan. After the first half, Channing Foster helped double the lead when she took a feed from CeCe Kaiser and curled her shot inside near the post. Arkansas finally got a goal in the 82nd minute thanks to Kayla McKeon, but CeCe Kaiser came in flying a few minutes later and buried a goal inside the post and secured a big 3 points for Ole Miss. The Rebels will hit the road on Thursday to play LSU. And the Ole Miss men's basketball team is getting ready to jump into their season. The team held an open practice Saturday morning. Sports Watch reporter Jason Price went to grab some insight.
If you attended Rebel basketball games last season, do not expect to see the same team. With new head coach Kermit Davis and 7 new players, veterans Breen Tyree and Terrence Davis will have to step into leading roles for this season. And at today's open practice, it seems like they did just that. The team's season will tip off on November 2nd at home with an exhibition match and will officially begin their regular season on November 10th at home again against Western Michigan. Reporting from the Pavilion, Jason Price, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
And for those of you who weren't able to catch the team in practice Saturday, they will be hosting a Square Jam on October 19th, where they will showcase their skills in front of City Hall. There was a showdown in Vegas this weekend. The heavily backed underdog Conor McGregor lost the fight to Khabib Nurmagomedov in the UFC 229 main card. But the real brawl actually broke out afterwards. Khabib jumped out of the cage and went after McGregor's jiu-jitsu coach Dylan Danis, turning the environment into a battlefield. At the end of the night, Khabib responded by saying this was not a side he wanted people to see, but he felt disrespected when McGregor talked about his family, religion, and country. Due to Khabib's actions, the Nevada State Athletic Commission will not release his check until they complete an investigation. That's all I have for you today in sports. Be sure to follow us at NewsWatch_UM to stay up to date with all things sports. Matthew, Grace, back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Annie. Up next, find out why one art auction wasn't a picture-perfect event.
And see why one of the buyers of the paintings was left without a shred of hope. For that artwork, that is. Stay tuned.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
When I get all steamed up, then I shout.
Tip me over and pour me out. Oh.
It only takes a moment to make a moment.
Cheers.
Take time to be a dad today.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars. But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Remember that to love America is to love all Americans. Because love has no labels.
The anonymous artist called Banksy is known for his stunts, and he may have just pulled off his most perfect art world prank. His work, Girl with Balloon, sold for $1.4 million Friday at Sotheby's auction house, but moments after the gavel fell, it was reduced to shreds.
According to a news release from Sotheby's, a shredder hidden inside the frame of the painting caused the work to self-destruct. Banksy himself posted a picture of stunned patrons watching as the shredder did its work, along with the words, going, going, gone.
How about that? Now, imagine if you paid $1 million for a painting and then...
You know what?
Just like that,
I bet you the buyer was sweating after that. You know, speaking of sweating, what's the weather looking like this week?
Well, it's definitely going to cool down, so you might want to make sure you pack a cool, light sweater.
I'm ready for that.
Thank you, Jessica. Well, that's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Matt Hendley.
Be sure to join us here again tomorrow night at 5 and on NewsWatchOleMiss.com. I'm Grace McClanahan. Thank you and good night.